Steve watched him leave, still rooted to the same spot. That guy was so creepy. He needed to find a safe place. When he came out of the men's room, he looked around. To his right was a small alcove where they filled up soft drinks and stored extra silverware. He slunk along the wall and into the nook, making sure no one was watching. Finally, he lifted his hand to his nose and snorted the powder. Instantly, he felt it take him, fighting back the bad feeling and replacing them with a familiar feeling of invincibility and correctness. He sighed deeply, cleared his nose, and then licked the residue off his hand. It was time to go seal the deal with that little Asian hoe. Rob returned to his place at the bar, feeling much more himself, much more in control. May handed him a fresh drink and smiled at him. "So tell me, Rob," she asked, her eyes smiling, "what do you do?" "I'm a fire inspector for the state." "No, that's your job, Rob," she corrected playfully. "I asked what you do. What's your passion? What defines you as a man?" Rob raised an eyebrow. "That's a deep question." "I don't fuck around," she said. "Well, I'm not really sure how to answer you," he said. "Try," she invited. He thought for a minute, and then finally answered, "I'm an explorer. I live to experience." She nodded. "Good answer." "So I pass?" he asked. "You pass," she said, stirring the ice cubes in her glass around with her straw. "For now." Rob glanced over at Steve across the bar. He was sitting alone, spinning a quarter and stopping it on the edge with his finger. There were at least a half a dozen empty bottles sitting in front of him. Even from across the bar, he could see how red the whites of his eyes were. The irises themselves were an unsettling shade of blue against his chalk-white skin. Again, Rob thought of a zombie. "Christ," May said, following Rob's gaze. "You know that guy?" "Unfortunately," Rob said. "He works with me. Serious issues, that one." "The hell did he do to his hands?" "God only knows." Rob shook his head and turned back to her. "So what do you do, pretty lady?" "I help men like you, who aren't sure what it is that they do. It's a service that more people should offer," she winked. "And if they're lucky, I also try to give them something new to explore." "I think I like your answer better," he said. "I knew you would," she hissed. "What do you do for a living?" "I work for a temp agency. Nothing exciting." "Oh," he said. "I would have pegged you for a model." She smiled. "Well, I did some modeling when I was a little younger." He looked back in time to see Steve leaving the bar with a fresh six-pack of beer. The guy must exist in a perpetual circle of drunkenness and hangovers. He'd probably be wet-brained by 60. Rob shook his head and turned back to May. "Hey," he said, "do you want to go someplace a little quieter and get better acquainted?" "Sure," she said, and placed her petite hand in his. You've been listening to Ambuscade, Book 1 of The Pain Chaser, written and performed by Patrick E. Malloy. If you like what you've heard, you can buy your own copy of the book at www.patrickemalloy.com. That's Patrick, the letter E, Molloy. All music for this production was written and performed by Raymond Jelly. And I'd also like to personally thank fellow writer-podcaster Nathan Lowell for all his help in getting this production started. Until next time, enjoy the nightmares.